Live from the Built Ford Tough studio at FedEx Forum, it's the Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South, on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Now, here's your host, Gary Parrish.
All right, I'm here. My name is Gary Parrish. I'm speaking to you from the Built Ford Tough studio, FedEx Forum, downtown Memphis. Bennett Doyle right there producing the program. Glad he's with me. Glad you're with me. Hope you're getting through the day best you can. And I hope you didn't think the Grizzlies would come out of the All-Star break on fire, because that did not happen. I mean, the first quarter was good. Nice start, but then the second quarter happened, and then the rest of the game happened, and it was a loss to a top 6 team in the East. And if you've been following things, you know that the Grizzlies have a wonderful record, broadly speaking, but not so great against teams that are top 6 in the East or West. We'll update those numbers for you. We'll do it momentarily. First, though, quickly, let me set today's schedule for you. In the next segment, about 20 minutes, Jessica Benson's going to show me. She, of course, joined me. She, of course, is the host of the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt, weekdays 8 a.m., Grind City Media. She'll come in here. She'll sit right in between me and Bennett, and I'll talk Grizzlies with her. Jess going to be here in about 20 minutes. Finish talking to her. We'll take a break, come back, do 5 more things you need to know, at which point we're going to discuss 5 previously undiscussed stories. Among them, Canada beat the United States in the championship game of the 4 Nations Faceoff last night. Fun night of hockey. I watched every second of it. It was an awesome competition. We'll talk hockey best we can. We'll do it in about 40 minutes. Penny Hardaway's Tigers going to return to the court this weekend. Florida Atlantic will be the opponent Sunday at home. We'll get you ready for that a little later on in the show. We've got a horse stealer living among us.
A horse stealer?
There is a horse stealer living among us. Weird story from Melissa Moon over at News Channel 3. I'll tell you what happened. We'll do that in just a bit. TMZ caught up with Aaron Rodgers yesterday and asked him what he's looking for in his next team. He had 2 answers. I'll tell you what he said. We'll do that in the second hour. And Major League Baseball and ESPN are divorcing after the upcoming season. No more Sunday Night Baseball. End of an era. Rest in peace. I'll give you the details on that during a segment we call 5 More Things You Need to Know. Then eventually we're going to do GP's Carry Out and call it a day. So that's the rundown. We got a lot to get to. But I did want to start with your Memphis Grizzlies, because game 55 of a scheduled 82, it was played last night in Indianapolis, and it did not go well for the visitors. Final score, Pacers 127, Grizzlies 113. If you were wondering how the mostly healthy Grizzlies would look in their first outing after the All-Star break, the answer, not good. Not good at all. Like, not good at all. Which is not to suggest that the Grizz didn't get off to a nice start. They did. Jumped to a 12-2 lead. They actually led 33-28 after 1 quarter. But then the Pacers outscored the Grizzlies 50-26 in the second quarter. Yes, the Grizzlies allowed 50 points in a 12-minute second quarter. It's obviously ridiculous. And after that, it was never a one-possession game again. The Grizz did cut it to 4 in the third quarter, but it was never a one-possession game again. So the Grizz have now dropped 2 straight and 3 of 4 heading into tonight's game in Orlando. That's the main story. The sidebar, of course, is that 2 days after Zach Kleiman told the entire world that Ja Morant is untouchable, the franchise point guard took 15 shots, missed 11 of them, and finished with 12 points and 5 turnovers. He was 0 of 3 from 3, finished minus 11, worst among the 5 starters. Big Bet Bennett, you told me just yesterday, as recently as yesterday, that Ja had something to prove, both to the people who think he might be available and also specifically Tyrese Halliburton. Explain yourself.
He did not prove himself last night. Neither did Tyrese Halliburton. I mean, what are we talking about? Ja's better than Tyrese Halliburton.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to hear it. That was rough, dude. That was rough.
50 points in a 12-minute second quarter, Bennett.
That was disgusting. I thought Brevin made a good point in the broadcast, too. Like, when you go down like that in a game, and they came back and got it to 4, but all the Pacers have to do at that point is go on like a little 5-0 run or something, and then it's just done. Like, you can't get back. Once you spend all that time, all that effort mounting that comeback, you almost have to take the lead and keep the lead, because once the other team just goes on a little spurt, after you've made your comeback, it's like, we used all that effort and energy to come climbing back, and now you're done at that point.
It's a basketball story as old as time.
Right.
You go down 26. They go down 26 last night, and then it's like, okay, still plenty of time. You can talk yourself into all that stuff. Yep. Still plenty of time. We play fast. We score more than anybody else. So, all right, we might have to go get 128 to get this done, but we can go get 128. Mm-hmm. Let's go get 128. And then you fight and fight and fight, and it's turnover, bucket, made 3, cut it to 7, cut it to 4. We're in this thing, and then boom, it pops right back up to 11. And to your point, it just feels like, and you're tired. That's the other thing.
That's it, yeah.
And you're just tired. It's both mentally debilitating, and then you're just physically worn down from having to fight like crazy to even get back in the game. So credit, I guess, for going down 26 and then at least making the fourth quarter somewhat compelling. Like, I didn't have to turn it off because it's over, but it was never a one-possession game again. Mm-hmm. They end up losing the game by 14 points. So now the Grizz are 36-19 overall. That's the good, 36-19. But the bad is that the narrative, and it's been out there for a while, mm-hmm. and it's never been not true. It's just been something we could talk around. But it's been there. The narrative suggesting that the Grizzlies' nice record lacks substance, that narrative was reinforced last night because once again they played a good team. And once again they lost, which is what they typically do against good teams. Like, that's just the truth. The updated numbers look like this. The Grizzlies are right now, in this moment, February 21st, 2025, heading into a game at Orlando. The Grizzlies are 8-12. Against top 6 seeds in the East and West, and 28-7 against everybody else. Add it up, that's how you get to 36-19. But 28 of those 36 wins, 78% of those victories are against teams that would either miss the playoffs if they started today or be in the play-in tournament if the season ended today. Big Bet Bennett.
Yes.
On a scale of 1 to 7.
Ooh, I don't like this scale.
You got to mix it up.
Yeah, I know.
Everybody's doing scales of 1 to 10.
This 1 to 7.
Everybody's doing scales of 1 to 10. We brought to life the scale of 1 to 7. Mm-hmm. On a scale of 1 to 7, how much does what I just told you concern you? Because 36-19 is wonderful, but again, 28 of those victories are against what you and I think both would call not good teams. The overwhelming majority of those wins are against what we would call not good teams. And when they play what the standings suggest are good teams, they lose more often than they win.
I'm at about a 5.
You're at a 5.
I think I'm at a 5, that's not good.
It's not good.
That's not good.
It's not a good way to be.
Out of 7. On a scale of 1 to 7, that's not great.
I mean, if you do that out to a scale of 1 to 10,
right.
You're getting into some dangerous territory.
That's right. Yeah, I'm a little concerned. I will say, like obviously last night, man, I thought that they were just going to come out and blitz the Pacers. I did.
Well, they kind of did come out and blitz the Pacers.
They did. I know. You're right. They did.
Then they got blitzed right back.
50 points in a quarter is outrageous.
Should be impossible.
Should be impossible. So that goes without saying. I still I've been saying this all season, and I'm going to stick with it. Like, this is how I've always been regarding this professional basketball team. Like, I'm not going to overreact to a 1-game sample size, but I would and I told you, I want to see a stretch of games where all these guys play together, like for a 5-game stretch, a 6-game stretch. Hopefully we're about to see that because we're going to get our answers, right? Like, we're going to know. They play again tonight. Yep. They play on Sunday at Cleveland. Then they'll be back home for a homestand. I hope that we get to see, those 3 guys, Ja, Jaren, Dez, all play together in all of these games, because if it goes south, again, a good team you're playing tonight, a good team you're playing on Sunday, they go 0-3 on this trip before coming back home, then yeah, I think we're concerned, yes.
Well, tonight is another game against a team that is outside of the top 6 in the East and the West. I believe Orlando's 7th in the East right now.
Yep.
I'm never going to get over the flu, by the way.
I brought you a cough drop.
I actually have Dayquil as well. I mean, this is 2 weeks of this.
I know.
I've done all the.
Look what the Grizzlies are doing to you, man.
I don't even know who's doing this to me. I just know this is the life.
It's probably actually like college basketball.
It's probably what I'm doing to me. Yeah. It's probably what I'm doing to me, if we're being honest.
The Grizzlies are probably a nice escape for you.
I'm probably
at this point.
I'm probably responsible for my lack of health, if we're being honest. But maybe I'll be back to normal at some point. Mm-hmm. Orlando, outside of the top 6 in the East, got a game against them. Mm-hmm. You usually win these, and you are a 3.5-point favorite tonight on the road, even though it is the second night of a back-to-back.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because they were 2.5 last night. That's interesting.
Yeah, they were slight favorites last night. And then little favorites again tonight. And I know what you mean by one-game sample size, because we haven't had a lot of games with Ja, Dez, Jaren, Vince, Zach.
Right.
But this isn't a one-game sample size anymore. They are 8-12 against good teams. And I know good is a subjective term, so let's just define it factually. They're 8-12 against teams that are currently in the top 6 in the East or top 6 in the West, and 28-7 against everybody else. If this were a college basketball team, do you know what we would be saying? All right, sure, that's a nice record, but how many quad 1 wins they got? But but a lot of that stuff's quadrant 3, quadrant 4 stuff. I can remember when Tubby Smith was in his second year at Memphis, and I was consistently arguing, you've got to make a coaching change after this season. Mm-hmm. And though we got to a point where basically everybody agreed with me, it was not a popular thing to say when I first started saying it, which, by the way, was after year 1. I was campaigning for a coaching change after 1 year because I could see where it was going. And I was not on the popular side, even though clearly it ended up being on the right side. But I remember when folks would try to argue against me, they would just speak about the record, just raw numbers. Well, look at the record, though. They've won 17 games, or they've won 19 games, or they won whatever they had won. And I would have to consistently say, okay, fine, but where are the good wins? What are you talking about? This is Memphis basketball, and you're bragging about a good record against terrible teams when you're nowhere close to sniffing the NCAA tournament. And you're bragging about a record that looks good on the surface, but when you dig in, can't even get you in the bubble conversation? What? Ryan Silverfield has to deal with this in football. Mm-hmm. I think we ultimately got to a point where if you win 11 games, win a bowl game, even if technically you didn't meet expectations because you were supposed to play for a conference championship, on some level, you'll lose your mind a little bit getting upset being a Memphis football fan about 11-win seasons, right? But when we were dissecting the quality of the season, you would very quickly start pointing out, okay, but who have they beaten? And they lost to some bad teams. You wouldn't just hold up the record and say everything's fine because look at the record. You would dig into it and point out the flaws. It's totally reasonable to do that with the Grizzlies right now. The record looks good because it is. Did drop down to third in the West, but still, it's top 3 in the West by a half game. But when you dig into it, there's some concerning stuff there. And it is the concerning stuff that the people who have been concerned, frankly, longer than you and I have been pointing out for weeks now. We're having this conversation now. This is a conversation other people have had. It's a conversation that's been going on social media. It's a conversation that's been happening in other places. We've never ignored it, but I'd prefer to focus on, I've said this at the time, top 4 record in the NBA, top 2 in the West. Ja's barely played, and Vince has played even less. If you're complaining, you're not focused on the big picture. But I'm also capable of holding that thought and also pointing out the goal here is not to finish second in the West or third. The goal is here to get in the playoffs, beat good teams, give yourself a chance to compete for the Western Conference title. Multiple years ago, your point guard said you had no problems with. Mm-hmm. Remember that?
Yes.
That's where we were a few years ago. I'm fine in the West. I'm worried about the Celtics. Fast forward and you're 8-12 against the good teams in the East and the West, against the top 6 teams in the East and the West. And this is ultimately the biggest issue, if you're trying to go where we want you to go, where you say you can go, where you more or less promised you would, you're not going to get to play the Pelicans.
Right.
You know? You're not going to get to play the teams that you have gone 28-7 against so far this season. That's not who you're going to be in a best-of-7 series against. You're going to be a best-of-7 series against teams comparable to the Pacers.
Yep.
You're going to be in a best-of-7 series against teams eventually coming out of the top 6 in the East, top 6 in the West, that caliber of team. Can you line up and beat them? I think so. Let me give you my answer. I think so. But you're not doing it.
Right.
I think you can, but you're not.
I feel the same. I feel the same way.
I think you can, but I'm just thinking that. I'm not basing it on anything that's actually happened.
You don't have anything to show to prove that. You're
no,
right.
I'm just throwing on my grit grind shirt.
I feel the same way.
I'm just throwing on a grit grind shirt and being like, I think they can do it.
Yep.
But what am I basing it on? I got nothing to support it.
Yeah.
Other than I believe in my core a healthy and focused John Morant, a healthy and focused Jaren Jackson Jr., a healthy and focused Desmond Bain gives you a chance against basically anybody. Mm-hmm. Like I fundamentally believe that, right? But if you tell me to support it with data from recent seasons, I got nothing for you or very little for you. Mm-hmm. I'm just hoping.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like, you know, last night, the play that I've heard so many people talk about, like the play with Benedict Mathurin where Ja's arguing with the ref and he strips him. Right. Yeah, and it's just like, that's kind of like how his season's been going,
he's
man.
Frustrated and
he's frustrated.
I always try to put myself in somebody else's shoes, show empathy, try to be understanding, both in this microphone, but also just like in real life. I think that's a good way to go through life, trying to understand what other people might be going through. I've said this about Ja a million times. I know he's got all the money in the world. Shoes, beautiful houses, beautiful daughter. In theory, your life should be wonderful, right? Every aspect of it. I bet you it's just not. I bet you this has not been the easiest thing to have people question you, to statistically have your numbers slip. You know, we talked about it earlier in the week. His PAR is in the 50s.
Oh, yeah.
This is the guy who, not too long ago, they was like, this will be the face of the league.
Mm-hmm.
Now his PR is in the 50s.
Right.
We just had an All-Star game. He didn't play in it.
Right.
You know? Oh, by the way, he's 25 years old. You know how many All-Star games he's been in? Not as many as you would have thought by now. Now other people are calling Jaren the face of the franchise. Even he has brought himself to a point where he's calling Jaren the face of the franchise. I like the way he's been mature about handling that and not... I think he's been a good teammate in that regard.
For sure.
At least what he's showing us. But this season has not been perfect for him. And then you got to deal with the trade speculation stuff. And I know his GM shut that down, but that was still something he had to hear about. I bet you it was still something somebody texted him about. So I bet you that was somebody close to him put that in his phone. Hey, man, did you see this? What's going on there? You about to get traded? That's a weird thing to have to respond to. Mm-hmm. I bet you none of this has been easy. I'm hoping he pops out of it. But you can tell he's frustrated.
Yeah.
You can hear it in his voice sometimes, see it on his face sometimes, and then, see it on the court sometimes. I mean, watch how many times he goes to the rim, and when you don't hear a whistle, he rarely just doesn't react. It's not Luka levels, but he is reacting. And let me be clear, perhaps appropriately so. He does get bumped a lot.
He does.
And there aren't as many whistles as probably should be. So I get it. I can understand the frustration, but I can also recognize it. It's there. Tonight's another night. We'll see, right?
Man, if there was ever a night to have a bounce back.
Would you like to have a bounce back in Orlando?
Yes, dude. Just, again, I want more than anything, I want to because we talk about, you know, I want more than anything to see it. Like everything that we're worried about, I want to see it with those three guys on the court together.
Sure.
I don't want to see it. I want to see them win a bunch of games and go to the playoffs. But everything that we're worried about what could happen because of what we're seeing right now, like what could happen in the play. I just want to see those three guys string together a bunch of games and look awesome. That's what I want more than anything together. But I want to know more than anything.
I would take that. Also, just kind of a weird way to restart after the All-Star break at Indianapolis and then at Orlando on back-to-back nights.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks.
Just a scheduling, just a weird scheduling thing. Like, here's 2 road games in different cities, back-to-back nights. Whatever.
Yeah.
Jessica Benson hosts the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt. She was talking about the Grizzlies' latest defeat earlier today. I'll bring her in. We'll chop it up with her. JB up next.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
Our fans have a huge impact on our ability to play to the level that we're striving for.
Drop off, Morant. Oh! Well, you wanted home crowd involvement.
I love those moments where you see our guys engaging in the fans and the fans just get pumped up.
They are standing in FedEx Forum.
I would hate to be on the other side with the opposition when FedEx Forum's rolling. That's such an unbelievable relationship that our group has with our fans.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, want exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season? Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Anticipate each challenge, make a quick response, capitalize on every opportunity, and win. Greatness won't wait. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies Checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st, and you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
It's your turn to drive into luxury at Southland Casino Hotel. Join us on Saturdays to win your share of up to $1 million in free play and prizes. And don't miss the chance to take home luxury itself during the grand finale drawings. Drive off in a 2025 Land Rover on February 1st or a 2025 Range Rover on March 1st. 2 vehicles, 2 finales, 1 million ways to enjoy luxury only at Southland Casino Hotel. Must be 21 or up. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Welcome back. Gary Parrish Show presented by Ortho South. We're in the Built Ford Tough studio. Sit over there, Jessica. I don't want to get you sick.
Are you Ford Tough?
I don't know if I've been built Ford Tough. I'd like to be, but I don't know.
What's wrong with you?
I've had flu-like symptoms for a couple of weeks.
Oh, God. You should see a doctor. Oh, how does it feel?
I got my flu shot, though. This is weird for me.
So did I.
I got my flu shot. And I've still had flu-like symptoms. And
That
before people
happens.
start going, well, of course, because nothing ever works. This is the first time since I've been committed to getting flu shots that I've ever gotten the flu. And I don't even feel that bad. I don't feel bad.
Mm-hmm.
I just have moments where I can't breathe and moments where I can't stop coughing.
So the 1 year that I missed my flu shot, I got the flu, diagnosed and everything. And it was the sickest, it was sicker than I was in either of the times I got COVID, sicker than anything I've ever had. And I was like, I'm never missing a flu shot again, which I haven't. Got mine this year. And I think I had the flu, but it was really low level. Like I hear all these people right now who are getting influenza A, that's the hot thing going around, and they're miserable. They sound like I was the year that I skipped my flu shot.
Right.
So I'm convinced that maybe my flu shot gave me like I got a low level version of it.
So it's
similar
still
to you,
working.
like you're still able to work.
That's right.
You're here. When I had influenza A, like I saw Jesus. Like it was horrible.
I have not missed a minute of work because of this.
God.
I have not seen God.
Okay, that's good.
But I have just
Not
been
feeling
coughing
great.
and just I lose my breath very quickly. And it's been going on for 2 weeks. It was 2 weeks ago SmackDown was here. My wife couldn't go. She was so sick in
Oh
bed.
yeah, that is when you got sick.
And I got sick right after that, and it's just sort of been lingering for 2 weeks.
Hate a lingering
It's just
cold.
lingering. I'm gonna be okay. I think I'm gonna be.
hope so.
I think I'm gonna be okay. It's just.
You want to know what they say? You got to rest. But this time of year, you
When,
can't
when,
rest.
yeah, when
so
are you
what
supposed to
gonna
rest?
do?
Like people always say that to me. They're
I
like,
know.
"Hey, you should rest."
I'm like, oh,
Like, okay,
thanks.
yeah, when? You don't
That's
think
a great idea.
You don't think that's occurred to me?
You don't think that was my first thought?
You don't think it's occurred to me to get
Yeah.
a decent night's sleep and not get on the airplane? And like, of course I should rest, but this isn't the time for resting.
Have you gone to a doctor?
Not about this.
You should maybe go to a doctor.
Might have to go to a doctor. I just
to get checked.
Well, I've got all the proper medicine that a doctor would give you,
You
prescribe
just want
you.
to make sure it's not something else.
Well, now you're putting fear in my head.
Well,
now she's putting fear
You know,
in.
I'm just.
Do
here
you
to
think it's
remind
something
you.
else?
I don't know if it's something else. I'm not a doctor.
Do you think I'm dying?
I hope not.
I hope not too.
Hopefully not.
I had a friend who's been like really tired recently, and she went to the doctor, and they found out that she just has low blood pressure. So now they're working on elevating her blood pressure.
In all seriousness, this is kind of what happened with Victor Wembanyama.
So, not to be a
No, go ahead.
super downer, but we were talking about that on the show, and I've had an understanding of DVT. When I went through my Achilles tear, they're very serious of if you think you're possibly dealing with a blood clot, you need to come in because it can turn into a pulmonary embolism. And I'm sitting at home like 2 weeks after surgery, and I'm scrolling through Facebook, and I see a girl that I grew up performing with, and it's suddenly an in memoriam post for her.
Sure.
And they explain in the comments that she had an undiagnosed DVT, and it turned into a pulmonary embolism, and she died.
Yes.
At 32 years old. So then I became obsessed with, oh my God, I hope I don't get a DVT. All that to say, it's remarkable that they caught Victor Wembanyama's
Yes.
DVT, and that's a wonderful thing that now hopefully it does not turn into something worse, and he is able to return to play.
Because I remember, so the news breaks yesterday right at the end of our show, and I can remember right before the All-Star break, I just saw it on Twitter, but somebody had video of Wemby, and literally the video was tied, the text above the video was like, look how tired he looks.
Oh.
And it was just him getting up and down the court. They were like, he looks exhausted. Yeah. And you know why? Because
He had a
so they catch it, and it really might save his life.
Yeah,
Not-
no, we joke about it and we immediately turn into like, what does this mean for the Spurs? What does this mean? No, like his life could have been saved.
Chris
You have no
Bosh's career
idea.
was ended by this.
Correct.
Other people, as you noted, have died. Like I have a close friend whose mother, like, I don't know the day, but
Yeah.
something like felt tired on a Sunday afternoon and decided to lay down on the couch and watch the golf tournament and died.
Yeah.
On the couch, and it was that
Yeah.
blood clot.
Yeah.
And so I'm over like caring about Skip Bayless or being bothered by Skip Bayless, but this was brought into my timeline last
I'm
night.
so sorry.
Did you see it?
I did.
I just don't He was like, this Wemby injury is so weird. You just have to wonder. Well, no, you don't have to wonder.
Yeah.
Here's what you have. You don't have to wonder about anything.
Yeah.
They just told you what happened. The young man was showing signs of issues. So they run 1 million tests on him and they find a blood clot. And now they're going to have to put him on blood thinners. And you can't play basketball on blood thinners. It's too dangerous. And now we're hoping
And
that
you also can't fly.
now we're hoping that he'll be able to live a normal life and then hopefully beyond that achieve all the basketball stuff we thought was possible
and
for
medicine
him.
is awesome, and science is awesome, and it's great that we caught this, and hopefully he goes forth. And
So what the fuck? What are we arguing? What are we wondering about? Like
yeah,
that?
no, I had the same exact reaction.
We've reached a point, and this is in all
This
aspects.
is a deeper
Yes.
conversation. Yes.
I've noticed this about people, particularly people on the internet, but just people in my own life, like real people I otherwise like, but find incredibly weird when it comes to things. Nobody takes anything at face value anymore. Nothing. Nothing is ever just as it is. You can't even read a report from the San Antonio Spurs that says our generational talent we've found blood clots and he has to be shut down. You can't even take that at face value.
Yeah.
And this is all aspects of life. I can remember on the day at the time, former President Trump, now current President Trump, there was an assassination attempt on his life. I was at Peach Jam. We were all watching this. I'm in a gym with hundreds of people. Everybody is. The game's happening.
Everyone's on their phone.
Everybody's on their phone. We're all looking at the exact same thing. And I get it. Details are clear and like, did it hit him or graze him or whatever? But it was pretty clear there was an assassination attempt. Mm-hmm. But nobody would take it. Very few people would take it at face value. It was like, it must be staged or it must be, there's just always got to be something more. And I think that, I don't mean to take it in a weird direction, but I think that's a huge issue.
Oh, it's representative of the dissolution of another institution, and it's the institution of shared acceptable facts. And if you are a world where you cannot agree on simple facts, or previously declared simple facts, you can't trust anything. And next thing you know, you can't trust journalism. And next thing you know, you can't trust the health industry. You can't trust the Department of Education. You can't trust the Department of Park Services. You can't trust the post office.
That's where we're at.
That is where we're at.
There is nothing that could happen today that everybody would just take at face value.
No,
I can make it even like smaller, unimportant things.
Yeah.
Tony Bennett announces his retirement from Virginia.
Yes.
Immediately, people are like, "Well, I wonder is he trying to get he waited this late so that he could get his friend the interim job?" And like, no, you know what he did? Here's the truth. It's as simple as it seems. He has become disenfranchised with coaching college basketball. He does not like it. He's not enjoying his day-to-day. But he doesn't want to retire in his early 50s. So he's trying to fight through it and catch a spark that recaptures everything he loved about it once upon a time.
That's not an easy answer.
And so that's why he took it all the way up to the start of the season. And then he realized after a short vacation with his wife, I don't want to go back to work. I would rather just be here with her than go back and do that job. So then he decided, in maybe the toughest professional decision he's ever made, to walk away from a job much earlier than he ever thought he would. And he had tears in his eyes when he did it. That's what it was. It was exactly as it seems. But I can't tell you how many people, even people in my industry, even people who are friends of mine.
What's the real story?
Yes.
What's really going on?
I just told you the real story.
Yeah.
But that's too simple for most people to accept because of this place we've gotten as a people. It's weird.
I forget what it was in reference to, but Lang on my show a couple weeks back was talking about just the notion of everybody wanting to be like only murderers in the building.
Yes.
And you can take that down another level to everybody wants to be on a murder mystery podcast. The true crime obsession in this culture, like everybody feels like there's something to uncover and they want to be a part of the group that is uncovering the truth. But the problem is it's a runaway train and you're never going to get there. Like this Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, Justin Baldoni, I think is perfect. I'm so lost on it at this point because frankly, I just don't care and I don't have the energy for it. But I was watching some clip on TikTok popped up of TMZ doing a full deep dive of Ryan Reynolds at SNL 50 and Blake Lively's reaction. And they were bringing up the theory that Ryan Reynolds went off script and that's why Blake Lively's face changed. Or did her face change because she noticed that Kevin Costner and Robert De Niro both looked like, why the hell are these people here and being featured on SNL 50? I was like, what are we doing?
Or did her face change just because sometimes your face just moves?
Changes.
Yeah.
Sometimes my husband says something and I'm like, oh.
Right.
Or you're just uncomfortable in the situation. And I'm not saying one way or the other. Like, I don't know if it was the right thing for them to be in the middle of this lawsuit and pop up at SNL 50 joking about it. That's beside the point. It's just that everybody wants to be the one who discovers that's what's going on.
I'll tell you the other one, like a big one. A helicopter flies into a plane.
Oh, I know. I was going to bring that one up too. But planes you have to get on planes often.
Yeah.
I know you had to fly, not Delta.
It's tough.
It was a tough life for you. You survived. You're here.
Yes.
But now we should actually clap about you survived.
Thank
That's
you.
not just a throwaway
Don't take that for granted anymore. Like I had this thought, I might be the last million miler. Because I don't think you can fly 1 million miles anymore without crashing at some point. I might be the last million miler.
Do not say that. Don't give yourself that.
I might be the last million miler.
Do you find yourself more nervous?
No.
I have a trip coming up.
No.
And I'm curious if I will be more anxious than I have
You
before.
might be. I can't speak for you.
Of course.
But I have not. It is something I'm aware of and I'm talking about and joking about.
Yeah.
Even though it's not something to joke about.
Right. Well, we joke so we don't cry.
There you go. But I do not get on a plane and like, oh my God, I'm overrun with anxiety. I feel, however I feel on a plane is exactly the way I've always felt on a plane. But I have noticed that helicopters sometimes go into them and sometimes they flip over and they don't seem like it used to happen as regularly. But helicopter hits a plane, everybody's dead, laying in a river. And immediately, people trying to figure out what happened. And you know what it appeared happened very quickly? like very within hours. You know what it looked like? The helicopter had a pilot error. It's what it looked like very quickly. They're saying, "Hey, do you see this plane?" And they see a plane over there, and they say, "Yeah," but they don't see the plane right here. And the way I saw somebody very quickly explain to me was that you could be flying this helicopter. It was some sort of training exercise, like you're being graded. If you have an instructor behind you, and the instructor could say, "Hey, so what do you think about this?" And you could go, and that's long enough to just boom, now you're dead.
Yeah.
Right? That was explained within hours. But that wasn't good enough for anybody.
No, it was a horrible mistake.
It was just a horrible
mistake. Is no longer a good enough.
But no, it's got to be,
explanation.
there was literally people trying to figure out why would the government want to crash this helicopter into this plane? Well, who was on that plane?
That's what I was going to say. It immediately became, when I woke up the next morning, one of the first things I saw was that there was like an important Russian on the plane.
Right, there you go.
And then what I found out was it was a former Russian figure skater who had moved to the United States, whose child was a part of that. And horribly, they're gone.
Yeah.
They're dead.
Yeah.
But the fact that that was the first thing I saw, how easy, if I hadn't continued onward, I would have gone forth with the rest of my day. Like, oh, there was an important Russian on the phone. I wonder.
Oh, and it could be something as simple like as the election was unfolding. Here's Joe Biden walking. Did you, what is it? It's just like, what? I've decided this. I would rather be gullible sometimes.
I'm a pretty gullible person.
I would rather be gullible sometimes than cynical all the time.
I think that's a very fair
I would
approach.
rather...
I'll say it because I'll take it one step further. I'd rather be gullible sometimes than cynical always, because otherwise I will go crazy.
Yes.
And I think people are going crazy.
Yes. Yes. I would rather we look up one day and we go, oh man, did you hear? The investigation's over, and there really was a target on that plane, and our government was really trying to take it out. And I'd be like, well, geez, that's insane.
Yeah.
I'd rather have to go, geez, that's insane. I guess I was a little gullible, than go through life assuming the worst
About
of everything. I just cannot imagine that's a good way to live, and I don't mean to suggest that I know the good way to live.
Yeah.
I got my own issues.
You gotta do what works for you.
I got my own issues. I don't even know that I do what works for me. I got my own issues. I'm just saying that's as simply as that's as simple as I can put it. I would rather be gullible and wrong sometimes about stuff than just cynical about everything in the whole world every single day. Because I see those people and they seem crazy to me.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Grizz lost again last night.
Oh, it was depressing.
Why'd they do that?
I don't know. Feels like they could have done anything else.
They had time off.
I think so.
They had a mostly clean status report.
Yeah.
They were favored on the road.
There were a lot of people who seemed to be excited to be watching Zach Edey and Desmond Bain play. A lot of Indiana love still for Desmond Bain.
And then they lose. By allowing 50 points in the second quarter.
I think if you want to win a game, this might be a hot take. You probably shouldn't allow 50 points to be scored in the second quarter.
I know I wouldn't. I've never coached basketball, but if
But then even the rest of the way, when you're like, oh, Pacers aren't scoring very much, are they?
Doesn't matter.
Grizzlies are getting a couple good stops in a row. They're putting some points on the board. Oh, look at the score.
Yeah, it
Still haven't caught up.
It doesn't matter if a team only scores 24 in the third and 25 in the fourth if they had 78 at the half.
It was so weird. It happened so quickly.
50 is outrageous.
Yes. And
50?
To go from the game being tied 51-51 to
Yes.
it being, I think, 78-59 at half, like something terrible must have happened. Oh, you just didn't play defense and
50.
weren't getting back.
Like you with, perhaps this is oversimplifying it. With decent effort, you don't give up 50 in a second quarter period.
That's what you would think. And honestly, upon watching, that's how it felt.
Right.
Yeah, it was crazy. And even the halftime hit, and so I was able to flip it over to Four Nations Faceoff and watch all the pageantry of that. And having to turn the game back to the Grizzlies on the big screen when it came back after watching a team give up 50 points wasn't my favorite thing. I was like, I'd really love to just sit down and watch this USA-Canada hockey game go off, but instead I turned it back and the Grizzlies made an effort and they played much better. If you want to take a positive takeaway, they didn't get beat by 40 because they didn't allow the 50-point second quarter but I'm not going to do that. It shows the precarious nature of the Western Conference. You lost the 2 seed. In one game back from the All-Star break, you are now behind the Denver Nuggets. It happens that easy.
You're behind a team that, it ain't like Nuggets have been there with you the whole time.
They're surging.
They're surging.
Now, granted, I am curious. Nuggets are playing great because Nikola Jokic is having one of the best basketball seasons that we have ever seen.
Right.
And they are playing better as a group. They're kind of in the same thing with the Grizzlies. Who have you beaten?
Right.
Where's your big game? And I'm not going to call it. They have a game against the Lakers on Saturday. I'm not ready to call that a big game because the Lakers can barely beat the Trailblazers and they lose to the Hornets and they've lost to the Jazz. And so they're still figuring things out too. But ultimately, just from a vibe starter coming out of the All-Star break, it could not have been a worse welcome back, Memphis Grizzlies. We're excited to call you a true contender in the West. Now, again, it's one game.
Right.
They have another one tonight. They could come out with an entire different effort, beat the Orlando Magic. You go into having an upcoming game against the Cleveland Cavaliers, which is an opportunity to do what you've struggled to do this season, and that is to beat the big ones. But for one night, it really stunk to watch that effort.
And it might just be one night.
Yeah.
Okay? But it was one night that happened to double as the first night since the All-Star break. Since
We were starved. We were thirsty.
Since your general manager came out and as strongly as any general manager ever could, make it clear to the world, the point guard is unavailable. You guys can keep talking about what we might do someday, but we're just telling you we're not. You can fantasize if you want to, but it ain't happening. All right? So you get people questioning the substance of your record, people wondering whether the franchise point guard is available. I would think that's some time where, let's show up and let's go play.
Yeah.
And you're going to have games
The first 5 minutes felt that way.
Yeah. But
the other ones
the
didn't.
second 12.
Oh, you mean the game's not only 5 minutes long? That's tough.
I wish it was.
That's too bad.
The second 12-minute period of post-All-Star break basketball showed an incredible lack of effort and focus that I don't think should be there when it's your first game post-All-Star break and your general manager's having to answer questions about the guy who has been the face of the franchise.
Yeah.
It just seems like to respond by giving up 50 points in the second quarter lacked something. Maybe it was that's just a one-thing deal. And tonight we'll talk about them scoring 50 in the second quarter and running off on Orlando. And on Monday we'll have a different conversation. But that's
maybe Jock comes out tonight and he's awesome.
That's right.
And maybe that's all it took was a disappointing. Listening to his comments to Mike Wallace after the game last night, he's frustrated. Of
course.
You can see that he's frustrated. It does not take a rocket scientist to understand that Ja Morant is in a frustrated state right now. And I think to add to the frustration, for the most circulated highlight from last night's game being the Nembhard steal and finish in transition where he pump fakes and Ja goes flying. But how does that clip start? It's Ja's back to the basket, arguing with the ref about a call. And we've seen this, and there is a deep frustration. And I always bring up, my husband is a Golden State Warriors fan. He is on the couch with me, and he will say, I can't believe they didn't call that on Ja. So that is a truth. There are times where Ja Morant drives to the basket, he takes on contact, he does not get a call. And I would imagine, I'm not a professional basketball player, that would drive you nuts. And it clearly is. But at this point in the season, if the calls aren't going to change, the response somehow has to change. Because I can't see this anymore. It's my least favorite play in basketball right now.
Yeah. Last thing before I get you out of here. I have for a while tried to just focus on the record and say Ja's hasn't played as much as we'd like. Vince has barely played at all. In theory, those are probably two of your top 4 or 5 players. You're still sitting here at the time, second place in the West, 4th best record in the NBA. If you're a Grizzlies fan complaining, you're just not seeing the forest for the trees.
A little Delulu.
You're just like, you're not seeing the forest for the trees. I still believe that's mostly true. I still hold on to all of that. But I am not ignorant to the fact that if this were a college basketball team and I were asked to analyze the resume, which is literally what I do every day. I look at basketball resumes and I analyze them and I rank them and I discuss them.
Right.
If I were asked to do this about the Grizzlies, I would start pointing out, I know we're talking different terms here, but it would be like, but where's the quad 1 stuff?
Yeah.
And most of their victories are like
quads
3 out of every 4. You could figure out a way to do it.
Let's go.
But 3 out of every 4 of their wins are against quad 3 or quad 4 competition. And their record in quadrant 1 or in the first 2 quadrants is 4 games below 500.
Right.
So, okay, nice record, but what is the substance of it? That's the type of stuff I'd be saying. And so I'm not going to call anybody ridiculous when they choose to point out those factual things. The 36-19 record is largely the byproduct of a bunch of wins against bad teams.
I think that was the primary source of frustration for me last night. Yes, the 50-point second quarter is going to be source number one. But two, previously, when the Grizzlies had played teams like the Pacers are a good team, but the Pacers aren't a great team. I would not put the Pacers in the NBA's best this season, even though they are fourth in the Eastern Conference. Right. They're 31-23, well above 500. But vibe-wise, they seem to be the kind of team, they don't play a whole lot of defense. Felt like the Grizzlies could not easily find a way to win, but handle competition. The Grizzlies have been so good against the East. All these things in my head were they should win this game against the Pacers. And okay, now there's a variable on that schedule set of data. Well, they lost to the Pacers. Well rested to the Pacers, coming out of the All-Star break to the Pacers. And then you start to doubt some of these truths that you have held on to throughout the season so far. But I will continue to be maybe a little bit gullible. I still think this team is a legitimate contender. I still believe in this team despite not having seen it. And these things can change so fast. Like, we are in a position where we have to get up almost every morning after a game. Sometimes we're blessed with a weekend to have some time. We didn't have to talk a whole lot about the Clippers game because then it was the All-Star break and you go on to that. But things can change fast. You go out, you beat the Magic handedly tonight. If you end up beating the Cavs, we're having an entire different conversation.
Of course. That is the nature of NBA season.
An NBA season of sports. Like, we are of recency bias. But you have to play that both ways. And of recency bias, there are more reasons this morning to be hesitant at your belief than there were yesterday going into the game.
And that's exactly my point. I like you, believe you give me a healthy Ja, a healthy Jaren, healthy Dez. Let's go play. I'll go play anybody. Let's go see. And I'll...
7-game series.
Let's go play.
Yes.
I'm happy to go compete with you, and let's go play. But I don't have a lot of data to support, and I think we could beat anybody. And I think we could.
All we have is a feel.
It's just a
I'm
feel.
hooked on a feeling.
It's just a feeling.
I don't have the data at this point. I'm waiting for the data.
I would prefer to have the data because I am mostly somebody who looks at things through data. And when, like, if I'm talking about college basketball and somebody's trying to have a conversation with me about why somebody is a legitimate national championship contender,
say, let's look at the data.
If they don't have the data to support it, I tell them they're wrong. I just say you don't know what you're talking about. Like there is, anything can happen in sports, right? NC State went to the Final Four last season. But there's no data to support NC State was about to go to the Final Four. It's just something that happened. So something like that could happen.
Right.
But you don't have data to support if you are planting a flag on the Grizzlies are actually contenders, you don't have a lot of data to support it. Yeah. I'm still going to believe it. I'm going to feel it too. I really
do. Like, I'm not just saying that. I have these conversations with people out in the wild. And that is how I that's all anyone wants to talk about. Even people from other places that want to talk about it.
Put your AirPods in.
I know.
Just put your AirPods in.
I've got to stop telling people what I do, like strangers.
I never tell a stranger what I do.
I know. I think I'm going to start concocting a lie.
The only way you will ever find out what I do is you have to ask so many questions that I can't. I will not lie to you.
They have to get through like 4 questions.
Yeah, I don't. But I will not lie to you.
I don't lead with it.
I don't.
I never lead with it. But I got to get to the point where I just lie straight off the bat. So
I don't lie. I don't feel comfortable lying.
Okay.
But I will not be forthcoming. I'm not a cooperative witness. Yeah. So it'd be like, the perfect example. I was in Lubbock the other day, right? And so what are you in town for? You ready? Work. I'm in town for work.
What do you do?
Oh, what do you do? I work in sports. Oh, really?
See, that's already a problem.
But I'm not going to lie, so I don't know what to,
Okay.
I work in sports. So what do you do? Well, yeah, I cover, and now you're in it. But like, my first answer was I'm here for work. It wasn't like I'm here.
Okay, we're done. Yes,
I'm going to be on television tomorrow.
You make me feel better because that's how I feel. I always I start strong.
Right.
What are you here for? Or what brought you to Memphis? Work.
Yeah.
What work? Well, I used to work in local news. Well, what do you do now? Well, I work in sports.
Right.
Well, what do you do in sports? Well, I work for the Grizzlies.
Right.
Well, what do you do with the Grizzlies? Oh, I work in media and communications. Yeah. Well, what do you do in media and communications?
Like at that point, I would already stopped asking you questions because it'd be clear to me you don't really want to tell me.
You'd be shocked. everyone always keeps asking the question.
I mean, I'll have these sometimes. I'll like be in a car and I'll have AirPods in and the guy be like, so, and I really can't hear. And I'm like, but I don't want to be rude. So I'll take the AirPod out and I'll be like, oh, I'm sorry. I was listening to something. What? I'm sorry. What did you say? And they'll say, oh, I was just asking, what are you in town for? And I'll be like, just for work. AirPod back in real quick. And they just won't stop. You know, you never know.
Yeah.
You can actually, I think, put it in your profile that says, don't talk to me. But that seems so rude, doesn't it?
Sometimes I think, never mind, I'm not going to say that.
Could you have you ever been comfortable enough to tell a driver?
No, I'm a people pleaser, please. That would be like a big step in my therapy to actually say, hey, I'm actually looking for some quiet right now. Can you not?
I have thought about that so often, like I want to.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'm like in a 45-minute car ride. Mm-hmm. And in New York, we have drivers that are pretty familiar with us. They've been working with us for years. So they know who wants to talk and who don't want to talk. Yeah. So like I might get in and be like, hey, how you doing? It's good to see you again. And we don't say another word the rest of the way. Mm-hmm. But like with an Uber driver, someone want to talk, some won't. And I am not comfortable
saying no.
I'm not comfortable ignoring.
Okay, so I'm going to level it up because an Uber driver is a service that you need. When I got a facial yesterday at the spa, and my worst nightmare is when either someone doing a facial or a massage wants to talk to me.
Just let me lay here.
Because I'm literally there to relax.
That's right.
And luckily, this person, she's talked for like 5 minutes, and then she stopped, and it was heaven. Right. And it was great. Like, highly recommend. But for a brief moment, I said, oh no, this is going to be one of those things. Because I've been in a massage before where I went and I paid a lot of money to have an hour massage, and that masseuse talked for 50 minutes. And I was like, did I get a break? Did I just pay to talk to somebody,
I just paid $50
to be
to listen to
someone's
you
friend?
complain about your husband or whatever.
This was horrible.
Yeah.
So, but I've always thought, why can't I just say, hey?
Because I see other people do it all the time.
Yeah. Like, hey, I'd really love some quiet time.
I see other people be understandably, I don't know if rude's the right word, but understandably
politely rude?
Politely rude. Like, just in like, excuse me, but I'm trying to work. Don't talk to me right now.
Yeah.
And I am incapable of saying that to somebody.
Me too. Or I'm trying to relax. Right? But that sounds so rude because that's in nature being like, well, you're stressing me the hell out.
Well, like I'm in this car in Lubbock and this guy suddenly starts he's like, so you into collecting cards? And I'm like, no, not really. And he's like, oh, well, I was going to tell you, there's a really good store down here not far from your hotel if you're into car collecting. And I'm thinking, I just told you I'm not. Mm-hmm. And he was like, so I was there the other day, and I'm like, what are we doing?
What are we talking about here? Why are we doing this?
But I am incapable. I act interested. I'm like, oh, man, that sounds awesome. I don't know how. I can't say, dude, just please, I'm trying to listen to a podcast. Please just don't talk to me anymore. I don't know how to do that. We need to work on that.
I think that's a good goal.
I'm going to work on that.
Or I'm just going to lie. I always try to think, you'll appreciate this. I was with my dad and the commissioner of the Horizon League a long time ago, John LaCrone. And we used to do John's son was around my age, and we'd do a ski trip every February. And I'll never forget this conversation at the dinner table between my dad and John of talking the same conversation you and I are having right now. When you say you work in sports and what you do, it's the kind of job, being a commissioner in college athletics, where everyone wants to talk to you about your job and the inner workings and what's happening. And God, I can't even imagine right now, it would probably be even more obnoxious. And sure enough, a waitress comes by and just casual conversation, and she ends up asking, well, what do you guys do? And in that moment, they said that they were garbage truck drivers.
There you go.
And it became and I was young at the time, so it became so funny. Like, oh, my dad said he's a garbage truck driver, but I know the truth. But I've always thought, why can't I do that?
Right.
Like, why can't I just sit here? And it worked.
Right.
I said, oh, great.
Yeah, I could just lie, like whatever I
just say I'm an accountant.
There you go.
It doesn't have to be that.
Right.
I work in data, and technically I do.
Right. I got to learn to lie a little bit better.
I work in words.
I need to be.
I'm too honest. That's my issue.
I just don't know how to be. And here's the thing. I know there's people who like know me well and be like, dude, you were rude to me one time, or you told me to shut up one time. I should rephrase. I don't know how to be rude to a stranger in that setting. Mm-hmm. That's it. I could probably be rude to Bennett in that setting and be like, Bennett, shut up. I'm trying to work.
I would never tell you to shut up.
Like Bennett, I don't think I would either. But Bennett knows. Like sometimes I'll walk, like I'll get out of here and I'll walk by the other studio, Vernon, Roser, and Devin, and they're all just having a party. They got music playing, and then like everybody's yelling and talking and whatever. And you walk in here, and Bennett knows, Bennett will say, "What's up?" And I'll say, "What's up?" And that's the most we say to each other until the show starts, because I'm trying to lock in on what I'm doing.
You guys don't even like each other.
No, we do. I love Bennett.
We do like each other.
But he knows, he understands. Bennett, I don't want to speak for you. You know that when I sit here, I just want to be left alone. You know that about me, don't you?
Yes.
Bennett knows that about me.
But see, that's the thing.
I don't know why.
I
wish Bennett. I just need Bennett to be my Uber driver. Bennett, could I hire you to be my Uber driver?
Sure.
That feels like it goes outside of his job jurisdiction.
I used to do DoorDash, so I'm used to and deliver laundry, so I'm used to
Nice.
Bennett knows
driving
what he's
around.
I used to deliver pizza, so I know what's
Can
going
you
on.
go pick up my laundry? Because it's been sitting at the cleaners for 2 weeks, I realized yesterday.
That's a little too far.
I know.
Yeah, that's taking a little too far.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I just keep all my laundry in New York.
Yep.
I just keep. I
just rent my clothes, so when I have actual dry cleaning, I'm incapable of remembering how to do the act.
Like my back and forth to New York
is
is before I get on my plane, I walk to the dry cleaners and drop off my stuff, and then when I land back in New York, I go back. The first thing I do is go back to the dry cleaners and get my stuff. That's the life I'm living right now.
Congrats.
Thank you.
I gotta go walk dogs.
Yeah, I was trying to get you. I got a whole lot of stuff. I don't have much more time with you. All right, so you go walk dogs. How many dogs you got to walk today?
2.
Keep him busy.
Yeah.
Good for you. Is this good dog walking weather?
No.
It seems like
because
my little
route
Luca,
to walk the dogs is just straight ice.
Be careful. My
thank
little
you.
Luca don't even like to go outside during this type of stuff.
Yeah.
It's a bad time to be a dog walker.
We had a dog staying with us, and our elevator is down, so it's been a real bad time to be a dog sitter.
Yeah.
I had to go up and down the stairs with the dog and in the cold, and the dog hated the cold, and then the dog hated the cold enough that he didn't want to stay outside to go to the bathroom,
Yeah.
and then he pooped on our couch.
Wow. Well,
It's been a week.
Well, I'm going to pray for you, all right?
Oh my God, thank you.
If you don't mind, I'm going to pray for you. Not about anything
Thanks for
serious.
asking.
Not about anything serious.
Hey,
but
I
about
appreciate you asking for prayer consent. That's cool.
Should you? Do you have to?
Some people say that you should. I don't mind.
Benny and I had this conversation.
Oh God.
What's that mean? What now?
Like prayer consent. Like some people don't want
Someone to pray for them?
prayers. Yeah. So if
I
you're
think
going to
you
pray
got to be a
for
weirdo to
someone-
reject prayers.
I do. So do I.
Even
I want to be perfectly
if you
clear.
don't believe in prayer,
You can still take a prayer.
You can still take a prayer. Like I don't pray a lot or ever. Okay, but I don't. If you want to pray for me, I wouldn't mind it.
Next time I'm running through my alphabet prayers.
Yeah.
G is Gary Parrish.
Pray
I
for
got
me.
you.
I don't pray for me a lot, but I don't mind other people praying for me if they want to. I wouldn't
Yeah.
object to. Here's Ben and I, and then we're really going to get you out of here. I have a real problem with this.
Okay.
I don't like it when people go on Facebook and ask for prayers, but don't tell me what to pray for.
Oh, at least give me a nugget
Yeah.
to start with,
Right.
so then I can go down and figure out what happened.
I mean, I'll see this random girl I went to high school with, right? And it'll be like, hey, prayer warriors.
Yeah, but next thing you know, I'm on her second cousin twice removed Facebook, because that's always the only person who didn't get the family memo that we're not giving information in our posts. And then I finally find it, and I'm like, yes!
I'm sending Facebook messages to people I ain't talked to in 20 years trying to figure out why I need to pray for this person. Nobody knows. And now I just wasted 20 minutes trying to figure. I will not pray for you unless you are a little more specific. I need details. You can't just be like,
I'll give you a prayer.
I'm not.
Whatever you want.
I'll pray against you.
But I will try to figure out what the hell's going
I
on.
will pray against you. I'm more willing to pray against you
sounds wrong.
than I am for you,
I don't
unless you give me
think-
specifics on what to pray for. I don't like it
I'm
when
not
they
an
just try to.
expert on religion. I don't think you can pray against somebody.
Oh, I think you can. I don't think you've been watching the news enough.
I guess technically, like if you're praying for a team to win,
Then
in
you-
nature,
by it-
you're praying against the other
Be
team.
specific with why you need prayer,
Okay.
and I'm happy to participate, maybe.
Okay.
But if you just say I need a prayer,
You're not interested.
I'll pray against you.
Wow. Wow.
Keep that in mind before you start posting. Okay?
Okay.
All right? All right, I'll see you later.
All right.
That's Jessica Benson.
What a time.
That's Jessica Benson. She'll be back in studio 8 o'clock on Monday morning. When we come back, man, what are we doing when we come back, Bennett? I've done forgot. Oh,
No, we're up against it.
we are really up
Yes.
against it. We're going to have to blow through this. Four Nations was last. I watched. How long do you think a good hockey game is?
2 hours.
Okay, I watched all of it.
3.
Whatever they had on last night, I watched more hockey last night than I watched.
It went to overtime, so
Yeah,
it was.
I watched that part too.
Yeah.
Canada won, so too bad for America. We'll get Bennett's thought on hockey. We'll do that next.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing compares to catching your Grizzlies IRL. And that all starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight. Put that jersey collection to use for the next game and get Grizzlies tickets at Ticketmaster. Whether they're here at FedEx Forum or on the road, Ticketmaster's got your back when it comes to scoring tickets. And there's no better brag than saying you saw it live.
Can't wait. It's time to get it popping.
It's going to be crazy. The fans are going to be loud. We need just energy.
Behind, back to Jared for the flash.
We're going to need, the Forum rocking. We're going to need, everybody in Memphis to be out there to come to support. When the fans are good, we're good. Simple as that.
A Bane 3. Yes, sir. Desmond Bane with ice water in his veins.
We'll ride the energy together.
Memphis Cat is back with his Heaven on Earth tour.
I tried to be incognito, but thanks to Shannon Sharp's loud mouth, the gig is up.
February 22nd in the FedEx Forum.
In my spare time, I infiltrate the Illuminati. Look for their secrets. Run back. Tell y'all.
Don't miss this year's most talked about comedy icon live. He's back with brand new material, an unmatched wit, and an electrifying performance. Get tickets at Ticketmaster.com.
When it's all on the line, you turn to the strong, the stable, the unwavering. To those with a history of raising their performance, to meet the moment. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st. And you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item. Whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
Orthopedic injuries can be unpredictable, unforeseen, and unscheduled, and Ortho South understands this better than anyone. Since your injuries don't make appointments, you don't need to either. That's because Ortho South welcomes walk-ins during the weekdays and the evenings, and even on Saturdays. So next time an unforeseen injury makes an unscheduled appearance in your life, visit orthosouth.org to find your nearest urgent care location. Just walk in and Ortho South will take care of everything, especially you. Learn more at orthosouth.org. That's OrthoSouth at orthosouth.org. Now I got 5 more things you need to know.
Number 1.
4 Nations Faceoff concluded last night inside TD Garden in Boston. Canada was victorious in overtime. Big Bet Bennett?
Yeah.
I think you had this pegged right yesterday.
I did. I knew it. I saw it coming.
You mentioned Connor McDavid by name.
Yep.
By name.
Yes.
United States had already won the first matchup between these two rival countries.
Yep.
You thought it was time for payback. The Canadians went up 1-0. Then it was 1-1. Then it was 2-2. We go to overtime. Connor McDavid, he finishes it. It's a passing of the torch, they said to me.
It was a nice night for me.
They said it was a passing of the torch from Sidney Crosby. Sidney.
Yep.
To Connor, a passing of the torch. Did you recognize that as a passing of the torch?
I didn't realize Sidney Crosby was 38 years old. I was like, damn, bro, good for you. Still performing at a pretty good level.
I thought a torch was passed last night.
I saw this coming, and it pains me to say it. Like I'm Team USA. I was rooting for Team USA. I did have a nice little parlay of Canada and Connor McDavid because I saw the writing on the wall.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah. No, that's it played out like I thought it was going to.
It was fun.
It was a lot of fun. I had a good time.
Like we had Grizz Pacers on, and then we had Canada United States on a secondary screen, and then once Grizz Pacers was concluded, then we go main screen on hockey, and I took it all the way to the end.
Yeah, it was good.
Everybody else fell asleep, but I took it all the way to the end.
It was good stuff. I'll be interested to see because, like, obviously, hockey's had a moment this week, right? Like, it's a huge moment for hockey this week. And then obviously, like when you see like a lot of the like talk about it, you compare it to the NBA All-Star Game because they're both going on at the same time and whatnot. And the NBA All-Star Game sucked, and the hockey one was a lot of fun. But then I also saw a lot of people last night be like, "Man, hockey's about to take over the NBA." No, it's not.
No. This happens every time.
No, their TV
something
ratings
like this happens.
like show. I mean, it's just people aren't watching it like they are the NBA. They're just
every
not.
single World Cup. Every single World Cup. You know what people say? And now soccer is about to take off.
Right.
And now, and I even, I buy Liverpool shorts, and I'm like, I'm going to get up every Saturday morning and watch, European soccer. And man, I've got the MLS subscription.
Yeah.
Man, I got World Cup fever. Now soccer is going to take on. Still the same thing.
I think EPL does okay.
Oh, it does. I'm just saying.
Yeah. MLS doesn't.
I'm just saying when you get caught up in something and you're like, okay, I didn't care about this, but this was awesome. Man, I think I'm going to try to start caring about it.
Yeah.
You almost certainly won't. You almost certainly won't. People almost never do.
I just was getting annoyed. I was getting annoyed with it. Chris Vanini had a good tweet last night because he was like, "Listen, this is cool." Like he was enjoying it as well, just like we all were. But he was like, "Come on with the like using this to like say the NBA sucks." Now. Like we're literally months removed from the Olympics. There's a freaking Netflix documentary everybody's watching right now about Team USA. Like people loved that. It was a huge moment.
Of course. Yeah. It's silly. Like this should not be the NHL is awesome and the NBA sucks conversation.
Right.
Or the NHL is about to pass the NBA in terms of the attention it gets inside the continental United States, because that's obviously not true. Still, most Americans, everybody knows LeBron James, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant. Most Americans can't name.
Don't know Connor McDavid.
No.
I know he's a Canadian player, but he's the best player. Yeah.
Who's the best American? Most Americans don't know who that is. I might not know who it is. Who's the best American?
Who's the best American hockey player? I don't think it's Jack Eichel.
I know, but like if I asked you that,
it's one of the,
if I said who's the best American football player, you'd run off some names. You go Patrick Mahomes and Saquon Barkley and whatever.
It's one of those
the Kachuk brothers.
Yeah, the Kachuk brothers.
Okay, fine, but this is my point. All right, you're still struggling to come up with the name of an American hockey player.
I didn't know how to say that.
Kachuk.
You just learned that
yesterday.
Yeah, okay. I was about to say, because I wasn't going to try to butcher it. That's why I was Googling it.
Just pretend that T doesn't exist.
Okay,
that's what I learned.
I got you.
Man, I told you I watched hockey all day yesterday. I know that T doesn't need to be there.
Okay,
I know that's unnecessary.
Like, damn, bro. Okay, I see you.
I know that T doesn't belong there. Here's the deal. As awesome as this was, most Americans still can't name a single. You ready for this? Most Americans, you say, "Oh, you excited about hockey?" Yeah. Who has the most points in the NHL right now? Oh, it's Winnipeg. What's their mascot?
The Jets.
But not everybody would get that. Most
I don't know if
Americans.
that's a mascot.
No, it is. It's the Winnipeg Jets. But
I know that's their team. I got you.
But like nobody else in my house would know that. All right, and I don't think either neighbor on either side of me would know that. So we're still at different places. Where this actually becomes a conversation is the NHL took their All-Star week festivities and turned it into something awesome.
Yes.
And the
No denying
NBA
that.
has run its All-Star weekend completely into the ground. That's the story.
Yes.
How did they make this so awesome and you keep searching for anything that's interesting and can't find it? And you get all these think pieces about it. And it's all day yesterday. I mean, PK Subban's become a star just ripping on the NBA. That's all he does. They mic him up and he just shits on the NBA. And then now he's a star, right? So even this morning, I turn it on and they got PK there and Stephen A there, and now we're talking again, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, how can the NBA replicate this? If it was as simple as replicating the format, you would just replicate the format.
That's right.
That's not the issue. You can replicate the format. I mean, we could argue about how to do it or debate it or figure, but like, let's go United States, Canada, France, and pick another country. And then it's literally the same thing. 4 nations. Well, what about our players who are all-star levels who don't come from one of those countries? Well, we can still pick all-star teams and vote on them the same way so that everybody's Wikipedia page says that they were all-star. But instead of a traditional all-star game, because we tried that. You guys didn't want to play. All right? So we're done with that. You can still call yourself an all-star. We'll vote you and get all that. Call yourself an all-star, but we ain't going to have a traditional all-star game. So if you're not from one of these 4 countries we pick, you're an all-star, but you ain't playing an all-star thing. It's just we'll put it on your Wikipedia page and we'll keep it moving. But if you're one of the 12 best players from America, 12 best players from Canada, 12 best players from France, 12 best players from you pick the other country, then you're going to be invited to participate in this event. We could do that, no problem. I mean, snap your fingers and do that.
Yeah.
It's up to the players. Do you know why the NHL thing worked? Because the players decided we're going to do this.
We're going to care.
We're going to fight.
It's that simple.
We're going to care. We're going to compete. It's that simple. Every argument an NBA player will use for why you can't really try is an argument the NHL players just said is bullshit. Well, what about a risk of injury? These dudes are hitting each other in the face. All right? You don't think they're risking injury? They're punching each other in the eyeball. All right? They're banging each other into walls. You don't think they're risking injury? They don't care. They're competing for something. Well, we're tired. You don't think they're tired? Well, it's not a real competition. Well, this is just something they invented. There's not like 40 years of tradition of this. Neither one of the Kachuk brothers grew up watching this and dreaming of playing in it. They invented it less than a year ago. It's just that one group of athletes decided we're going to make this into something. And I thought PK was good talking about this. He said the customers understand. They'll show up, and if you are competing, they'll care. I said this yesterday. I don't want to say I don't know anything about hockey. You know, I know what icing is. I grew up playing Blades of Steel. I got it. But I don't follow hockey. I don't watch it. I don't really comprehend the ins and outs of what's happening. Like, I can watch a basketball game and tell you what I think's happening. I can't really tell you what I think's happening in hockey, other than I did have this moment where, like, Connor McDavid, he didn't even play well, I gather. But there was this one moment where he just sort of took off, and I was like, my God, he's different than everybody else.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, that's Connor McDavid. Yep. That's the best player in the world. There was this moment where he looked different than everybody else, just a brief moment. So I could pick up on that, but I don't know what we're doing. Like, I can't call a timeout and design anything or analyze anything. But you know what I can see? This is what everybody can see. Competition.
Yep.
I can see when two people get in a boxing ring and they're really trying to box. And I can see when two people get in a boxing ring and they're just trying to move around. I can see when people get on a basketball court and they're trying to play. I can see when people get on a basketball court and they're not. Too often in the NBA, they're not. In the NHL, they are. And that just burst through over the past week. It doesn't mean that one sport's going to go someplace that the other sport can't go.
Right.
It just means that in this very specific set of circumstances, the NHL has figured out a way to create something compelling, and the NBA can't. And the core issue is not format, design, big ideas. It's just that the NHL somehow, by culture or otherwise, has figured out a way to convince their players how to care about something, and the NBA still can't and, frankly, probably won't.
Number 2.
Your University of Memphis Tigers, we're going to return to the court on Sunday. Florida Atlantic's in town at FedEx Forum.
We hated them for like a year.
Well, they were good for like 2.
Yeah.
And they were in our league for like 1 under Dusty May. He's now off at Michigan getting ready to win a Big Ten championship. And the Owls are coming to FedEx Forum without him. It's another game against the Owls. You know, those are always they can sometimes be complicated. We've had our own Owl struggles over the years. You know that.
Yep.
Temple Owls, Rice Owls. Here's Florida Atlantic Owls. We've had some Owl problems over the years. I don't suspect we should get one here. It's a quad 3 game. You don't think Memphis is going to lose another quad 3 game, do you?
I don't. I mean, they had won 5 in a row before they just lost to Wichita State, which that loss actually helped you because Wichita State then by their win over you turned into a Q2 loss for you. So I think I explained that right. Anyways, I say all that to say they're not good. Like, they're not good. I know they had went on a little winning streak. Like, you should blast this team.
KenPom has Memphis projected as an 11-point favorite. FAU comes in here. Yes, they had won 5 straight, but they just lost to Wichita State. It should be a double-digit win. That's what KenPom projects. Let's hope that that's what it is. Let's hope we're not sitting here Monday talking about something stupid like
No. I mean, again, you're just avoiding you're avoiding bombs left and right. You know, you're avoiding just these brutal losses, like, because this will wreck your everything that you built to this point.
Every game you play going forward is not a game that can help you. Literally every game between now and Selection Sunday is not a game that's going to move you up. They'll maintain your place. They will not really move you up. But every loss is going to boom. Like, what are you now? I think we're a 5 seed. Lose 6. What are you now? Lose again. 7. It's
Yeah.
going to pop you every single time.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you're in the 8-9 game, and all year long you've been talking about going to the Sweet 16, and now you're in an 8-9 game playing Auburn in the round of 32. Congratulations.
Yeah, the only one you mentioned of these last remaining games that like wouldn't just devastate you would be that at UAB game. Everything else would just be brutal. Like those other 4 games left. You just got to win them.
You're not going to be able to get...
However you do it.
You're not going to be able to get there was a time where it looked like you were going to get a top 4 seed, or at least could. As recently as last Saturday, Jerry Palm had you projected as a top 4 seed. You're not going to be that now, I don't think.
I think they're 6 right now. That's what they're projected in.
You're not going to have predictive metrics strong enough to get you there. You're not going to have a resume strong enough to get you there. You're going to have a quadrant 3 that's going to be damaged enough to prevent you from getting there. So you're not going to be a top 4 seed. Can you be a top 6? Can you? And that's really where there is a difference, man, between being a 7 or an 8, if only because that second game, it's the difference between playing
Auburn
or Tennessee,
right?
or Duke, or Texas A&M. There's just a difference there. Do you want to play Houston or you want to play Iowa State?
Yeah,
they're both good. They're both better than you. But one's different than the other.
That's right.
You want to stay away from the Auburns and the Dukes.
As long as possible. Yeah.
You'll deal with the 2 seeds. The 2 seeds are different than the 1s. They just are. As somebody who looks at this every day, there's a difference between Auburn and a 2 seed. There's a difference between Duke and a 2 seed. So now if you're Penny, that's the goal. You got to stay out of that 8-9 game. How do you stay out of the 8-9 game? Don't lose to teams like Florida Atlantic.
Number 3.
There's a horse stealer among us. There's a horse stealer living among us.
By the way, can I say something real quick about that game? I forgot to mention that is the Chris Douglas Roberts game, where they're retiring his number. So that's going to be awesome on Sunday. He's going to be there. That'll be cool.
CDR is a Tiger legend.
Yeah.
CDR is a Tiger legend. There's a horse stealer among us. I don't think it's CDR, but I don't know. But I don't think so.
He would never.
I think he would never.
No.
But I don't know. But I think he would never. Do you see the story?
No.
There's a horse stealer among us.
Really?
Yeah, Melissa Moon has it over at WREG.com, News Channel 3.
Okay,
this is a real thing that happened yesterday. Skip to the end. Everything's fine. The horse is back where the horse belongs. His name's Poncho.
Okay.
But, Poncho had an adventure yesterday. According to witnesses, so out at Shelby Farms, there's like a little place, I guess, and you spend much time out at Shelby Farms?
A lot. I was there this week.
You
sledding.
Did spend a lot?
Yes, yeah.
Okay,
went sledding for snow day. Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like I don't do stuff like that enough.
Shelby Farms is great.
Shelby Farms is great.
Shelby Farms is great, yes.
I feel like I don't appreciate it as much as I should.
You need to get out there, man.
I think you're right.
Yep.
Okay. So people are always out there. And there's a place in Shelby Farms. I don't know that I've ever seen it with my own eyes, but there's this place I gather, Shelby Farms. There's got like 50 horses out there. And there's just horses just sort of out there being horses. Whatever horses do. So there's one horse named Poncho. He's been out there for a while. He's one of the older fellas. And suddenly somebody notices, where's Poncho? Where the hell did Poncho go? So they start to panic. Like, okay, we're supposed to have 50 horses, and we have 49. Poncho's missing.
Yep.
Where on earth is Poncho? About this time, they start getting calls from people like, hey, I'm driving down the road, and there's a guy 25 to 30 years old, looks like, just walking a horse down the road.
Yeah.
Like just walking down the road.
In broad daylight.
In broad daylight. Just walk. It's freezing. Ice everywhere. The dude just walking down the road with a horse.
Why didn't he hop on his back?
That's what I would do.
The getaway would be easier.
I've seen enough Lone Rangers to know. Buddy, if I ever have access to a horse, I'm going to jump on that dude's back.
Yeah.
Nope, he's just walking.
Easier said than done.
I think so, probably. He's just walking down with Poncho, just walking down the street. Nobody knows what this guy's up to. Long story not so long, they end up finding Poncho just abandoned somewhere. Still just...
Got tired.
What is your plan when you decide to steal a horse from Shelby Farms?
Well,
what do you think you're planning?
GP, as someone who came in first place in the media class of the Germantown Charity Horse Show, I will tell you that these horses, they are worth quite a bit of money. I don't know Poncho's status necessarily, but...
His status is legendary, I think.
Well, some of these legendary horses go for thousands and thousands of dollars. So it could have been Poncho might have been worth a pretty penny.
And
now, I'm not sure if this person that stole Poncho had any idea what he was going to do with Poncho.
That's right.
Because it sounds like he had no plan at all, considering he was walking him down the road instead of, riding him.
That's right.
You'd think, again, the getaway would be a little bit easier.
I would think so.
Yeah, so it sounds like just an idiot that
Maybe an
didn't
idiot.
really have a plan.
I think it was an idiot with a lack of a plan. It seems like it'd be easier just to steal an iPhone,
Yeah, right.
I'd just maybe go to Starbucks and try to wait for somebody to go to the bathroom and steal an iPhone. If I was into stealing, I don't think I'd mess around with Poncho or any of his friends out at Shelby Farms. But, hey, at least everybody's okay now.
I'm glad Poncho's good.
And Shelby Farms, they released a statement about it and more or less just said, we're going to leave it here. Just more or less said, hey, we're just happy Poncho's home. We ain't trying to solve a bunch of crime. Like, we're just happy Poncho's home. We'll just leave it here. So that's nice of them because they could pursue this fella. And maybe they should. I don't know. But I'm just glad Poncho's back where he belongs and I'm
glad too.
Everybody's okay. And leave the horses alone. Don't be stealing horses. That's crazy.
Number 4.
Aaron Rodgers was approached by TMZ yesterday.
Okay.
They asked him a couple questions. You know what he said?
What?
They said, hey, Aaron, what are you looking for in your next team? You know what he said? 2 things. He said, 1, I want to be wanted. He said, I would like to be wanted. Well, you were wanted up until you up until you made them not want you. So whatever. And then he said, I'd like for it to be, have some talent around me. Do you think Aaron Rodgers is going to end up in a place where he's wanted with talent around him?
No. Well, I mean, there's a lot of talented players in the NFL, so probably.
Would you take him on the Titans right now?
No, God, no. God, no. Just no. The rebuild is already starting. Like, just let's just rebuild. I've already prepared myself for maybe a couple bad seasons. It's like let's get this rebuild going. Do not try to win games with Aaron Rodgers. My God, that would be the dumbest thing that franchise could possibly do.
Okay, I agree with you. So then why is somebody going to do it? Because everybody's just assuming if he wants to play. I keep hearing this. Well, if he wants to play, he'll play. It's up to him. Is it really? Are we sure somebody's going to give him a job?
Like I could see, like could he play for like the Raiders next year?
He could play for anybody, but why would you do it? Okay, he's 41 years old. The last 2 healthy seasons he's had have both been bad, and the one he just had was the worst. All right? He was like yards per attempt, all that stuff. Worst of his career. All right? The team that had him, keep in mind the reports from last week, he went to them and pleaded with them to keep me. And they said, no way, buddy, you got to get out of here. Why would you want him?
All it takes, man, is for one delusional owner.
But you would have to be delusional.
Yes. But again, like these guys, they build these teams every offseason, and I guarantee you there's an owner out there that's like, man, we're close. We just need a quarterback.
Yeah, but he's not a good one.
I know.
That's the problem. He's not a good quarterback now.
I'm with you. I think if you were to, I think he'll be a starting quarterback in the NFL next season. I do. I believe that. Someone's going to convince themselves that the Jets thing, it's the Jets. It's the freaking Jets. They're always terrible. We'll bring him in, get him in a better situation, and he'll be fine, and he'll go back to Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers. Someone's going to convince themselves of that.
Probably. But tell me the 41-year-old professional athlete who sucked at 40, sucked at 38, but is suddenly good at 42.
I can't name one.
Okay, right.
No, I can't name one.
You don't usually get better as you get deeper into your 40s. Like once it starts to go bad, it typically gets worse, right? You don't see a lot of 41-year-olds having bounce back seasons.
Right.
After 2, I mean, his past 3 seasons are bad, hurt, and bad. Mm-hmm. That's his past 3 seasons. Bad, hurt, bad. Who in their 40s goes bad season, hurt season, bad season, great season? Does that work?
No.
No, it's not usually how it goes. That might be early in your career. Bad season, rookie season, second year hurt, third year bad, breakthrough, here it comes. That makes sense. Breakthrough when you're 24, 25, 26, 41. Bad, hurt, bad, then you're good. Not to mention all the off-the-field stuff that just drives everybody crazy.
Right.
I wouldn't touch him.
I would not either. But, like, could I see him being a Raider or a Brown? Like, yes. I could see it.
I guess I could too.
I could see it.
We'll see, but I wouldn't touch him.
Number 5.
End of an era. Major League Baseball and ESPN have announced that after the 2025 season, they're done with Major League Baseball, at least for the time being. There was an option to either opt out or opt in to the contract extension, and ESPN, it's pretty clear, is opting out of it. Did you see the numbers on this?
No.
So ESPN has been paying $550 million a year to Major League Baseball. Basically to do Sunday Night Baseball, the All-Star Game, Home Run Derby, and some playoff baseball. But not a lot. Like Sunday Night Baseball. It's not like Tuesday Night Baseball, Thursday Night Baseball. $550 million. So if they wanted to continue this contract, they would have to commit to $550 million for the 2026 season. Meantime, Major League Baseball did a deal with Apple, you probably know, where Apple TV is doing MLB games. Do you know what they pay a year?
What?
$85 million.
Okay.
They have Friday Night Baseball.
Yep.
So basically, Apple's paying $85 million for Friday Night Baseball, and you're paying $550 million for Sunday Night Baseball. Of course, you're not going to do that. What? So ESPN just said we're out. They had already been done with Sunday Night with Baseball Tonight. That's
gone.
That's something I grew up with. It's been gone for years. So here's the truth with baseball. It is the most regionalized sport of the mainstream sports in America, I think, in the sense that there is no baseball game on in the regular season where you're like, I got to watch this. Dodgers, Yankees, Mets, Yankees. If it's Mets, Cubs, you know who's interested in it? Mets fans and Cubs fans. If it's Orioles, Red Sox, you know who's interested in it? Orioles fans and Red Sox fans. There is no national thing that matters in the regular season when it comes to baseball. So why would you pay $550 million to put on games that you could put You could put Yankees, Dodgers on Sunday Night Baseball, and most baseball fans, to the extent they're watching baseball, are going to watch their teams and nothing else. I consider myself a baseball fan. You know what I watch? Mets games.
Yep. Me too.
That's it. I watch Mets games.
And you know what I watch?
Orioles games. Yeah. I watch the Mets.
Right.
And you could be like, GP, what do you think of the Tigers? And I'd have to go check. I don't really watch the Tigers. I watch the Mets. That's the way most baseball fans operate. So no surprise that ESPN is opting out of that. And then you wonder, like, the NHL removed themselves from ESPN once upon a time and just sort of disappeared. Like, if they start ignoring you, it does become a problem where, you know, if they're not prioritizing your highlights on SportsCenter and everything else, you do become a little bit out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, why do you think they went back?
There you go.
You know?
Right.
I mean, I think, because Rob Manfred is trying to paint this as, like, you know, he suggested that, like, well, he talked about ESPN's linear distribution going down, and saying that, you know, they basically saying that they're a shrinking platform.
Yeah.
Dude, come on.
Right. Yeah.
That's fine. They're still like the biggest.
They're still the biggest.
Yeah.
They still are the biggest. They might be shrinking, but they're still the biggest.
Yeah.
And they're still important. Like every bar in America is going to have that channel on.
That's right.
24 hours a day. 24 hours a day. Every bar in America is going to have that channel on. So just, you know, I don't think it's... I don't know how big of a deal it is, other than it is smart by ESPN probably to not be paying an exorbitant amount of money for baseball games that your average baseball fan is not even going to really care about.
Yeah, I'm with you. Plus, it's just so, like, especially, you know, in Sunday Night Baseball specifically, like your premier event every week. Baseball's just so tough. And I know there's obviously blowouts in the NBA. We see them a lot. But in baseball, it's pretty common. Like,
Well,
it's hard to find a great game.
Well, it's just even
We've
with a
had
great
couple,
game,
yeah.
you just feel like there's 162 of them, and they don't really matter. No one of them matters that much.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to draw national. That's as simple as I can put it. It is hard to draw national audiences for regular season baseball games. And ESPN has probably learned that and realized it ain't worth $550 million a year. We come back. Jason Baker is the executive director of Champions for Literacy. They are doing their Fight for Literacy game connected to the Memphis-FAU game Sunday at FedEx Forum. So we'll get Jason in here. We'll chop it up about that. It's the Gary Parrish Show presented by Ortho South.
Grizzlies fans, dunks, dimes, and no-looks are great on TV, but nothing compares to catching them IRL. And that starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight in person. From seeing your favorite Grizzly stars up close to hearing the squeak of the sneakers on the hardwood. Put that jersey collection to use and get tickets at Ticketmaster. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside, Memphis.
Our fans have a huge impact on our ability to play to the level that we're striving for.
Drop off, Morant. Oh! Well, you wanted home crowd involvement.
I love those moments where you see our guys engaging in the fans, and the fans just get pumped up.
They are standing in FedEx Forum.
I would hate to be on the other side with the opposition when FedEx Forum's rolling. That's such an unbelievable relationship that our group has with our fans.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, one exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season. Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
A night of comedy with Sebastian Maniscalco and Jim Gaffigan.
Now, is this a family? Is this your mother? Where is she? Is she in the crowd? You don't know where your mom is. The mom's up there. What kind of family is this? I'm sorry.
Sebastian Maniscalco and Jim Gaffigan.
I went ziplining for the last time. What is wrong with us? Would you pay $200 to feel like you're about to die 6 times?
Live in Memphis, FedEx Forum, Friday, February 21st. Get tickets now at livenation.com.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
Welcome back, Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South. We're inside the Built Ford Tough studio, and on Sunday afternoon, 1 o'clock tip inside FedEx Forum. It's Florida Atlantic against the 22nd ranked Memphis Tigers, and it, of course, is the Tigers' a Fight for Literacy game in conjunction with Champions for Literacy, which, of course, used to be Coaching for Literacy. You've now changed the name. Jason Baker is the executive director. First, just good to see you. You and Bennett, lifelong friends, I gather.
Yeah, 20.
We go way back.
20 years.
Tell me the biggest crime you've ever seen him commit in person.
He probably knocked down some 10-year-old at the skate park in Memphis at a concert 20 years ago.
You were a bully.
No, I wasn't.
Bennett was a bully.
Can't confirm or deny.
Jason Baker, first, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
For people who are unfamiliar, and I've been working with you guys for years, just honestly, the way it started was interesting to me. Knowing John Wilfong and Jonathan Wilfong and the entire family, that it was just sort of an idea that turned into something that's making a real difference, not just in this community, but quite literally communities all over the country. For people who don't know the backstory, explain to folks why they're going to see Penny and his staff representing Champions for Literacy on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you know Tiger basketball, you know the Wilfongs,
of course,
and obviously a great friend of yours. And so John's son, Jonathan Wilfong, when he was a senior at MUS here in Memphis, him and a classmate essentially had a high school teacher that said, hey, come up with a community model, sort of architect or design a community model that will benefit kids. And so Jonathan wrote the plan for CFL, and that was based on some life experience the Wilfongs had. And they just, credit to them. They asked the question, sports can impact anything. So what role could it play in impacting literacy? And 12 years later, I've got a pretty cool job because a high school senior dreamed a little bit. And like you said, it's grown into a movement. It started with college basketball coaches spotlighting reading and literacy, and now we've got teams and athletes and new programs and all that.
The way Jonathan tells the story, and this sort of resonated with me, and I thought it says something about he and his family that they were even able to pick up on this or even care enough to pick up on it. Because Jonathan, I think he would tell you, like they come from a pretty privileged place. They've lived a nice life. But when you play AAU basketball in Memphis, you're going to find yourself in some circles that maybe you don't grow up with around your neighborhood. And as Jonathan told the story to me once upon a time, he had a teammate, and my little guy plays baseball, so I know exactly what it's like. You're in a baseball tournament. When's the next game? 4 o'clock. All right, so we got 3 hours. Y'all want to go get something to eat? Everybody's at Chili's or more likely some Mexican restaurant. Jonathan tells the story. He had a teammate, and every time they would order, the young man would point to something on the menu. He wouldn't just say, I'll have a steak quesadilla or I'll have a burger and fries. He'd find the picture on the menu and point to it. I'll take that. And they sort of picked up on it, like he can't read the menu. And very privately and respectfully, they brought him aside and talked to him and then got him help. And this young man went from somebody who could not read a menu to somebody who qualified to be an SEC athlete and is now a college graduate. And I don't want to speak for Jonathan, but my understanding is he recognized and his family recognized that we just changed somebody's life. And we don't need pats on the back for it, but like that wasn't that hard. We did that. So let's see if we can do it again. And now it's on a grand scale where just put some numbers on it for folks. This starts as an idea from a high school student. Most high school students are playing Fortnite. Here's a high school student, was pushed, but still pushed to change somebody's life and create something that does good in this world. Put some numbers on it. How much good is it doing?
Yeah, absolutely. So 2024, as of the end of 2024, essentially the short of what we do for listeners is we give opportunities to sports teams and athletes to impact this cause. And so they're fundraising for local reading programs, and then we help them use their platform to inspire kids. So read books to them, do book signings, those kind of things. So if you take those couple of activations, $1.8 million generated from sports teams and athletes. 100% of that benefits kids in reading programs. 502 athletes involved in 2024 and 175 teams.
I didn't know this, wasn't even aware of it until I started working with the foundation, that I think all of us recognize in this country we've got some issues all over the place. But I didn't recognize that literacy was such a big issue in this country. Just because my whole life I'd just known how to read best I can remember. It was not been a problem for any of my children. But my children also grow up with 2 parents who are college educated, living in their home. My wife was an educator before she decided not to be. My kids are set up to succeed. If they don't, then sometimes life's just hard, but they're set up to succeed. Not every kid is. I could not frankly believe that in the United States of America, the most advanced country, wealthiest country, most powerful country in the world, we have a real problem with children not being able to read at grade level in this country, and the numbers are way worse than I think the normal person understands. How bad are they?
Yep. So 4th grade is this mile marker for kids, so that's kind of what they judge. Is a kid reading on grade level? What's their long-term trajectory, economically, socially, those kind of things. So 4th grade, if a kid is reading on grade level by the end of 4th grade, there's an 89% chance they graduate high school and start a career. That's regardless of what zip code they come from. So pretty incredible. If you look at more affluent communities, it's 90% of kids. So you're talking about a statistical difference of little to nothing, right? So the way it transcends economics is pretty incredible. The flip side is, the reality is 1 in 3. So there's brand new data that came out of something called the NAEP this week, which is kind of the way we nationally assess where kids are, math and reading. So 1 in 3 kids in America in 4th grade reading on grade level. In Memphis, it's 1 in 4. Right. So to your point, we've got some work to do. There are great organizations in Memphis that are working to address this day in and day out. And so we just want to play a small role in that.
Talking to Jason Baker, Executive Director, Champions for Literacy. The Fight for Literacy game, Memphis-FAU, is Sunday inside FedEx Forum. So I think most people now understand it's attached to sporting events, attached to basketball games. I believe this is the 10th Fight for Literacy game.
That's right.
For the University of Memphis. Penny has been a really important partner for you guys. And I hope people understand, this isn't just a Memphis thing. Like, you will do a game at Virginia with Tony Bennett. You'll do a game at Houston with Kelvin Sampson. I don't want to speak out of turn, but like some of the biggest basketball brands and biggest coaching stars have taken up this cause with you guys. So I think most people understand that. But practically, how does it work? How does it make an impact in connection with this basketball game on Sunday? How do funds get raised in connection with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Anything we do, we want to create a resource and inspire moment for kids. around reading with sports. So we're going to drive resources that are needed to local programs doing great work, and we're going to create this great inspirational moment for kids. What better platform to do that than through sports, right? So that's if we're working with teams or athletes. So Sunday, what you'll see Penny and his staff wearing a green wristband, green lapel pin, so that's kind of our literacy, flagship color. Fans can pick up a free wristband in the lobby when they come in the game, so it's a fun little perk. And then kids, so International Paper is the sponsor of the game. So to your point, 10 years with Memphis, 9 years sponsored by IP, over $300,000 generated for Memphis programs. You're talking about one game, once a year, 2 hours, pretty incredible. So IP will present a check to 3 reading programs in Memphis as a part of the game. MTR, Streets Ministries, and Knowledge Quest. And then kids from those programs will be at the game, and they'll get celebrated on the court for their reading. So it's a great moment for IP employees and even more so for kids.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys also have created opportunities where the kids you're trying to impact can interact with the basketball players that they're watching. And that's hugely important because here's the truth. I can sit down with kids of a certain age and talk about the importance of this or that, but I'm an old man, who talks into a microphone. Nobody cares what in that world. I don't know that anybody cares what I have to say about anything, but Penny Hardaway matters, and PJ Haggerty matters, and accomplished athletes for as long as we've had sports that we pay attention to in this country have been able to make an impact with young people and guide young people and be strong role models if they choose to be. And you guys are playing a role in setting those types of things up as well.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, it's why we use this platform, right, with this cause. We want to bring a flair to it, bring a cool factor. And I want to give you more credit than you just gave yourself. So 2 years ago at a fundraiser we had, you were there.
Sure.
You did a great interview for us, and we have a new program now that activates individual athletes in the space too. So from 6th grade all the way to Desmond Bain. So we do some work with Desmond. We had one of our young athletes speak. He was in the 7th grade at the time. We have video footage of you encouraging him after the event. So this kid this year, freshman at CBHS, I'm going to see him play tonight, so basketball player, he'll raise $15,000 for a local reading program, and he's hosting a free basketball clinic for those kids at the program. So that moment that you encouraged him is huge. So whether it's PJ, whether it's you, I mean, that matters.
And please remind me of the young man's name.
Connor Hewitt.
I remember him. I remember that moment.
Yep.
I just remember being wildly impressed by him. Like saying this is how I would like my sons to interact with adults, and these are the things I would like I'm very proud of my sons. Whoever, like his parents have done an amazing job. That's an impressive young man.
Yep.
I didn't know where he was going. I was willing to bet it was a good place.
Absolutely. Yeah. So your moment of talking to him and encouraging him, that matters.
I appreciate you saying that. I don't know if it's true. I'd like to think that young man's going to be whatever he's going to be, regardless of whether we shared a minute together or not. But I do remember him, and that's the type of these types of things can bring you into interactions with people you otherwise might not meet, and I'm going to jot his name down so that I'll remember it and be able to follow him, because I do remember him being incredibly impressive. So the other thing, and then I'll get you out of here, that I think is important for people to realize is that when you do a Fight for Literacy game in Memphis, the money raised is going to impact young people in Memphis or the surrounding areas.
Yep.
This isn't money raised here that's then going to LA or New York or Chicago or wherever. But, and this is the point I would always try to make when I do radio appearances in other markets promoting these Fight for Literacy games, if I'm talking to a Houston radio station and Kelvin Sampson is doing a Fight for Literacy game at Houston, that money we're raising there is not coming back to Memphis. That money's going to Houston.
Yep.
And if we do a LSU game, that money's going to Baton Rouge. So it is not an overstatement to suggest that this foundation that was the idea of a high school student and is now much bigger than I think most of us ever imagined, and being run by you, you're not just impacting people in this community. This is a real national thing that's making an impact in countless communities all over the country.
That's right. Yeah, 39 communities to be exact. Yeah. So not only, to your point, does the money stay local and really benefit kids on their reading journey, we don't take a penny from it either, right? So we have really generous donors who help us keep our doors open and do our thing, and we want to make sure that money from the games or individual athletes impacts kids.
Well, listen, man, I couldn't be, first, just prouder to even have my name somewhere associated with this.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Because I've just been, like I wrote a story about it a long time ago, just because I was impressed by just the idea. It's very easy, I think, sometimes different generations to look at the next generation and lack hope or trust or be like, and the world's going to hell. And I just, in my own experiences, I meet people like Jonathan and I meet other young people, and I'm like, we're going to be fine.
Totally.
There's the next generation is, I'm impressed by them. The empathy, the care, the big thoughts, and I'm more worried about my generation than I am the next generation. And this foundation has allowed me to just sort of walk in those circles. And so thank you for letting me be a part of it. Thank you for being here today. And just broadly speak, as like a person of this community, thank you for doing everything you're doing, because you're helping people who need it. And we should probably be doing more of that around here.
Appreciate that. You're the man, GP.
Thank you for being here. Champions for Literacy. It's on the web, Champions for Lit. That's the website.
Yep.
You can get all your information there, championsforlit.org. That's championsforlit.org. And then Sunday, we got a 1 o'clock tip inside FedEx Forum. The game, of course, is on ESPN2. Tickets available, Ticketmaster. Champions for Literacy. It's a fight for literacy game inside FedEx Forum, Florida Atlantic, and Memphis. Jason, thank you again for being here.
Yeah, man.
We'll be back. Wrap it up with GP's Carryout.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
If you go to a hustle game, you're going to see a very fast-paced game. A lot of action, both offensively, defensively.
Nice rejection right there.
In a great environment at the Lander Center. You could bring family there, kids are running around.
Down the lane and one for Zion Poland.
And then you're going to see a lot of talented basketball players competing at a high level.
At the National Civil Rights Museum, history moves us forward. The question remains, how does history move you?
Keep on talking, marching up to freedom now.
Shinedown. Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Memphis. FedEx Forum, Saturday, August 30th. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
Parrish Show presented by Ortho South. Look what I got, Bennett. Look what I got.
I got one too.
When I showed up to work today, look what I got. Tell people why I have this. Why don't you?
Yes, and you can get one too. One of these really sweet shirts. Look at that. At the Memphis Hustle game tomorrow night. It is Grizz night at the Hustle game. First 1,000 fans going to get one of these sweet T-shirts
Shouts to Jenna.
Night. Shouts to Jenna. She's always hooking up the Hustle gear. They're going to have like themed jerseys that are going to be worn and auctioned off tomorrow night. All the proceeds going to DeSoto Dream Center. Grizz, the Grizz girls, Mike T, the Blue Bunch, everybody going to be in the house. Going to be a big party tomorrow night at the Hustle game. So show up early and get your free Memphis Hustle
It's
T-shirt.
a party on
Throwback.
Church Road. It's a party
Yes,
on
sir.
Church Road. It's a party on Church Road. If you ain't never partied on Church Road, buddy,
you ain't party.
That's what I'm trying to tell you,
You
Bennett.
ain't party.
They ain't party. Let's do GP's Carryout.
Okay.
It's time for GP's Carryout. One final segment filled with stuff to take with you. It's not everything you need to know, but it's most of it. What did we learn today?
Whole bunch of stuff, but we spent most of the show, first hour or so, talking about the Grizzlies. Another loss last night to a top 6 team in the East or West. They're now 8-12 in such games this season. Very good against everybody else, not so good against the good teams. That's been a narrative that has been established, and it was reinforced last night in Game 1 post-All-Star break. Get another game tonight.
Yep.
Down in Orlando. It's Paolo Banchero and the Magic, not a top 6 team in the East right now.
Yeah.
So that's among the reasons. I assume the Grizzlies are slight favorites on the road. We'll see. We'll see how it goes tonight, and hopefully we'll have different conversations on Monday, Bennett.
Yep.
What's today's biggest game?
I'm going to take you to college basketball.
I knew you were going to do this one. I'm ready.
It's a 7 o'clock tip on Fox. Could decide the Big Ten race. It's number 14 Michigan State at number 12 Michigan inside the Chrysler Center.
Yep.
Michigan, 3.5-point favorite at home. Totals 150.5. What you think?
Give me Sparty.
You believe in Tom Izzo.
Give me Sparty.
You don't believe in Dusty May at home.
Give
You
me
believe-
Sparty.
All-time winningest coach in Big Ten history, Tom Izzo. Bennett says he's riding with him on the road. You don't trust Dusty May at home?
I think Dusty May is a great, young head coach that's going to do great things in this sport. But you're going up against a legend, buddy.
Tonight.
You're going up against a legend.
Bennett says a legend's walking into the Chrysler Center tonight. He says take Michigan State plus the 3.5.
What are we watching on TV?
SmackDown tonight.
Oh,
did you see?
I saw it.
The final boss. The final
I'm
boss.
ready.
The final boss is coming.
Dude, I'm so fired up.
They have to do something like this because I tell you, you want to know the truth?
Yeah.
I want to tell you the truth.
What's up?
Here's the truth.
What's up?
I sat in my hotel room on Monday night. And I had on Raw on Netflix.
Yeah.
And I had on, basketball games and stuff too. And I was just sort of, I was doing what I do on a Monday night in a hotel room. And the main event was like Seth Rollins and whatever, Finn Balor, to try to see who gets in the Elimination Chamber. And I got sort of distracted during the match, doing whatever. And then I looked up and it was over. And you know what? I just said, I don't care who. I didn't even care to go back and see how it ended. I was just like, I'm so disinterested in this. They got to do something.
Yeah.
Now we're here. Final boss is back.
Dude.
The Rock returns to SmackDown tonight.
Okay, so the rumor is he's just going to announce that WrestleMania is coming to New Orleans in a couple years because SmackDown's in New Orleans tonight. That's the big. Everyone's saying that he's just coming there to announce that WrestleMania is coming to New Orleans. But he also said he's going to put someone in their place or something like that. So something's
gonna happen.
Something's gonna happen tonight. Did you see, by the way, yesterday announced that he's gonna be one of the stars of the new Martin Scorsese movie?
I did see
it's
that.
gonna be him,
Leonardo.
Leo, and Emily Blunt. I was like, damn, that's a hell of a cast.
But it sounds like, because I read what you sent me, it sounds like it's like a crime boss thing, but set in Hawaii.
In Hawaii.
So The Rock sort of can make sense as a character.
Yeah. I mean, that's going to be his biggest role to date. Well, I mean, obviously he's been in movies like that have grossed a ton of money and everything like that. But as far as just like a prestigious role, it's rocking a Martin Scorsese movie.
You don't think you're going to get that. Here we are. All right.
I'm excited about that. I thought that was cool.
7 o'clock tonight, USA Network.
What's the best thing we've read?
Well, I don't know if it's the best thing. I don't even know if it's a good thing. But I did update the top 25 and 1 this morning, writing about that Michigan State-Michigan game. Dusty May, Tom Izzo. Dusty May was the 2023 CBS Sports National Coach of the Year. He's got a chance to do it again just 2 years later at a totally different school. Probably trailing Bruce Pearl, Rick Pitino right now, but he's in the conversation. You can read it at cbssports.com.
What's on tap for tomorrow?
Oh, sorry.
It's okay, Bennett.
I don't know what day it is.
It's Friday, so tomorrow is Saturday. We won't be back till Monday. But, hopefully we got better conversations about the Grizzlies on Monday than we had on Friday. Hopefully nobody gives up 50 points in the second quarter or any quarter.
We're either going to come in here Monday feeling okay or not good.
I'd rather feel okay.
Yeah.
I'd rather feel okay. So I hope it's okay. We'll see.
We could feel great. If you go win 2 in a row, we're going to come in here Monday and be like, okay, we're back. Forget the Indiana game.
I wouldn't mind feeling great on Monday.
Yeah.
Let's
just win 2 in a row.
Let's try to go feel great on Monday.
Let's win 2 in a row.
2 in a row.
Let's go.
All right. Enjoy your weekend.
Yep.
I'm going to try to enjoy mine. We'll meet back here Monday at 10. Till then, be careful, be kind, be good. Rep your hood.